Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last QUIZZY Monday of 2023. I've gone all festive. You can see just above my head, I've made an effort and I've put some tinsel up. What could be more Christmassier than that? I can't compete with all these Christmas specials on TV, but, at least I made an effort. We've got a great show for you tonight. We have got from Mastermind, after a thrilling tiebreaker, got Helen Lippell to talk us through that. Later on, we've got some of the also-rans who are going to be telling us about Only Connect and yet another thrilling match. We also have a special video message from Lewis, who can't be with us tonight, but has sent us his thoughts on the show tonight. We'll, of course, talk about the Mastermind prediction game. We will, of course, update you on the news from the world in quiz and the nominations for Quizzer and Team of the Week. And yeah, all the usual stuff. We probably won't be dwelling on University Challenge celebrity shows. It was a good one, actually, but we probably won't be talking too much about that. Don't forget, you can always put comments and questions in the chat. Catherine, evening, Gerard, I'll do. Discussion again about University Challenge. Just kick the backside out. University Challenge with 160 points. I'm less inclined to count on Christmas episodes, says Gerard. So there we go. That's that whole discussion done. We can tick off Christmas University Challenge. Now, a few parish notices before we begin. The World Quiz Awards are coming up. Thanks to everybody who submitted nominations. We are now in the short listing process. Voting is going to open on the 27th of December. So look out for that. And if you're a member of or you're subscribed to our newsletter, you will get the link directly into your inbox. And the awards show will be live on the 14th of January, Sunday the 14th of January. So please do come along for that. This week's winner in What is the Question was this question by Nick Paul. The answer was red. His question was, what colour is Pantone 18-1663 TPX? Snappy title that. The colour code of the soles of shoes designed by French fashion designer Christian Louboutin. Well done to Nick. This week's answer really to the question is north, and we've had a whole bunch of questions in, and you can now vote on the shortlist, the long list at tinyurl.com/WITQ North. The link is going out on all of our social medias. So play along with that. And if you want to submit questions next week, then look out on Facebook and Twitter for our post of the word. Sunday morning, that'll be Christmas Eve. So what better things to do on Christmas Eve than think of questions to a random word? Lunchtime quiz time is every day. This question, which we posed today, came up tonight on one of the shows, came up, I think, on University Challenge. So there you go. We had another 2 questions that Valerie has posed during the week, or the last couple of weeks, came up on today's quizzing. So if only there was a predictions competition that ran for all of the shows, I think Valerie would be winning right now. She had an absolute cracker. So yes, that's all the notices. Let's crack on with the chat and welcome on to the show Helen Lippell, fresh from winning Mastermind. Hiya, Helen.
Hello, how are you?
Very good. I tell you what, my heart was pounding. That was nerve-wracking tonight.
Tell me about it. I knew what was going to happen as well, and I was still like, oh.
I mean, did it bring it all flooding back? Is that kind of all of the stress and tension? Did it wash over you anew?
I mean, the tiebreak went really well, but watching that general knowledge again was like, who is this person that doesn't know African capital cities? Oh my god! Just under pressure.
Well, that's the thing. You've done Mastermind before. You know what it's like, but when when you're in that situation, it's just a one-off, isn't it? You just have to kind of hope that everything hangs together and then you perform, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I try and work on performance. I think it's really important. It's as important as just knowing stuff. And it worked for 2 of the 3 parts of that show. So I'm just really relieved. Third time lucky.
Yeah, well, you're a series semi-finalist, so you didn't make the semis then last time. Last time you're on, you did REM, if I remember rightly.
No, that was the first time.
Oh, that was the time before. Okay.
Yes, so first time 2016. I finished 4th, scored well. Came 4th to some chap called Dan Adler. I don't know if he's ever done anything else in quizzing. Back on in 2019, I did the London Underground. and came second on passes. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. God loves a trier.
Indeed, and you've got your reward for that. I guess one of the things that you'll have got out of that past experience, firstly, you don't have that kind of abject terror of the unknown because you've done it before. But secondly, and I think it came through in your specialist subject round, you know how to prepare for a subject. Now, before we get on to how you prepared, why Grinling Gibbons?
Is that sort of a leading question? Because I think you probably know the answer from the circuit. So I am part of 2 league teams, one in the Quiz League of London, one in the online Quiz League, and they are both called Grinling Gibbons. And a couple of years ago, when I was thinking, oh, I'd love to get back on Mastermind and get over my hard luck stories that I've had, and it was the tercentenary of Grinling Gibbons' death. And even though we were still in lockdown, there was a few events. And we went to one in one of the big auction houses in central London. They managed to get a few pieces together. And I was just walking around going, this guy would make a decent subject for Mastermind, and it would be really funny because that's my team. And I don't think anybody's done their team on Mastermind before their team name.
I think you think you're probably right there. I think you are the first. But I guess when you're looking at Grinling Gibbons. I did St Paul's Cathedral on Mastermind, so I know his work in St Paul's Cathedral very well. But when you're weighing up a subject, what are the factors that you're thinking of that make you conclude this is a good subject for Mastermind, as opposed to this is an interesting chap?
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 times it was easy because I was a passionate REM fan and I passionately love the Tube. So this, I really had to start from scratch. So I looked at the kind of scope of it. A lot of details of his life are a bit vague, so there wasn't like huge amounts of family members or life events to learn. And the amount of work, as in his work, felt manageable. It's not like he wrote 900 novels or did 500 portraits like, a Monet or someone like that.
Yeah.
And there were a few good books. There weren't millions of good books, so that felt manageable as well. So it was a little bit of a trip into the unknown because I don't really have a lot of artistic talents at all. So, and wood carving is completely alien, but I maintain that most things can be made interesting.
Yeah, and that's it's a good subject to pick, because say, if there isn't a huge amount written about the person, if they're an artist like Gibbons, but actually if you haven't seen his carving, and you have obviously, but if people haven't seen his carvings, they are incredibly intricate. So this person is not bashing out 20 pieces of work a month. So you've also got kind of a manageable list of major works to learn, and so very, very good subject. But nonetheless, you still got to get all of that stuff into your head and bring it out again when you need it. So what techniques did you use to try and get it into your head?
So the thing that works for me, like a lot of people, is flashcards, and I went digital this time. So the last 2 times it was piles and piles of index cards being carried around faithfully. So using an app. And the thing that really works for me and might not work for everybody is to kind of make a kind of model of it, because that's sort of what I do in my job. So I made a kind of data model of the essential facets and attributes of the subject as I saw it. I try not to preempt too much, what might they ask a question about? Because I think that way lies madness. So yeah, I just tried to map out, there's locations, there's works, there's aspects of works, there's patrons, there's monarchs, and then there's a tiny bit of biographical information, and then just sort of build it up from that using tags and taxonomies, which I'm quite good at.
That was a really interesting way of subdividing the work and making it manageable, and presumably finding relationships between things as well to help remember them. And then flashcards. So did you use Anki, or was it a different flashcard? Yeah. So quite common nowadays for people to do that. How did you find it in terms of compared to previous years then? As a study methodology, did you feel more comfortable more confident going into the chair?
I don't think it made much difference. I felt okay. I can feel confident because I know I've been through this, dozens and dozens of times because I can see the stats. But last time I didn't have any stats and I still did really well on the specialist subjects. So I just sort of trusted that stuff would somehow go in if I was thorough enough, and trusting myself to be really thorough with learning the material and picking through really obscure wood carving techniques and instruments and going, I don't think that's going to come up. I'll go to the next paragraph, thanks. So yeah, it is a whole sort of end-to-end process.
Yeah, and it worked. You got 12 out of 12. We haven't had that many people completely destroy a subject in the way that you did tonight. That many full houses on a subject. So presumably all of those answers came up in your work, or close enough that you're able to kind of make the leap. It
was great when I look back over them. It was all just bang, 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 bang. The only one that was a bit obscure was there was a particular statue of an archbishop that had 2 left feet, and basically there were 3 archbishops that he did statues of, and it was like, which is the one that might have had 2 left feet? So that was a bit of a 1 in 3 shot to nothing that came off, but I knew what the 3 were. I couldn't tell you what they are now. Most of it's gone.
But you gave yourself that chance by doing the work and being that thorough that you were able to kind of narrow it down and come up with an answer fairly quickly, which is what you want to do. Now, we have a predictions competition. Let me add this. So our predictors came up on Grinling Gibbons with Cosimo III, the Draper's Company, George I, and Petworth House. I don't think any of these were the most popular guesses. There were other guesses. Reasonable guesses, do you think?
George I is quite late. I mean, Grinling Gibbons worked for 5 different monarchs, which was quite impressive given all the religious and political shenanigans in the 17th century. But George I and Gibbons only really overlapped by a few years right at the end of his career, when he was doing stone sculpture and earning a lot of money but not doing it very well. Petworth, I'm surprised that didn't come up, because I think that's where his best work is. I didn't manage to get there in the summer, but I would love to and see it close up, because that was just the ultimate Baroque bling, get Gibbons wood carvings. That shows you're a real kind of rich, successful, tasteful person. Draper's Company, honestly can't remember the reference. It's I think that's something to do with his father got him involved in that, and it was a little networking opportunity for him. And Cosimo was the Cosimo panel, which again, outstanding work. I'm surprised that didn't come up. If you want to showcase his top work, then that's where I would go. So yeah, I saw those and thought, I don't remember any of those. But I got my 12.
Well, that's it. You got the ones that actually mattered. We did have a few people score points. And let's just quickly, before we move on to the rest of the show, Toby Atala got 6 points. We had 29 different scoring answers today, some for 1 point, some for 2. So Toby got 6, Joe Ashdown 5, Joe Parry, Steve Oldham 4 each, Emma Napa 3, a whole bunch of people on 2, and Ed Mason, who was tying for the lead last week, got 1. But we could see Philip Isaac got 2, which means Philip Isaac is now in the lead. But again, there's still a long way to go. Well done to everybody who scored points this week. And next week's topics are British Garden Birds. That's one for Pam. The Big Bang Theory, the German occupation of the Channel Islands, and the films of Orson Welles. And if you want to play along, go to tinyurl.com/mm-predict-23. So that's the prediction competition. Now, first round, Thomas did well, 9 points. Sean, I mean, we cricket, anything sporting, there's so many different facts and figures and people. And I felt kind of sorry. She hit a bit of a run, and I think it's hard to pull yourself out of a sticky run like she had. And I did feel sorry for her, but she really came back in the general knowledge, which is great. She showed. She showed she'd got, didn't let it get to her. And then you got John Phillips and Brown, who gets 11 on Gerard Manley Hopkins. So halfway, you're thinking there's one person within a point of you. Thomas potentially, potentially within striking distance, but you've been there before. So
Yeah.
what are you thinking then at half time in terms of your own chances?
Well, I can't remember if I was leading or second the previous two times, but I remember the previous two times thinking, oh, I've got a really good chance here, and then it doesn't work, and I've got my hard luck story. So I was very conscious of that this time, as like just try and keep calm, don't think about it, and see what happens, and squeak through the general knowledge, which it was tough. I mean, looking at it back, I probably should have done better, but you only get that one shot at glory.
And you've got the pressure of time, and I think again, I know you as a quizzer, I know how good you are, and given another 10 seconds to think about Freetown, wasn't it? I think, or
yeah.
the
And
University of Surrey, all of those. It's like, actually, if you just take a step back and you haven't got the pressure, you probably think clearly enough to come up with them. But that's what the chair does to you, isn't it?
Exactly. And I love the format. That's why I'll keep doing it as long as they'll keep taking me. And I wasn't bothered by all the ones I was getting wrong. I was just like, forget it, move on. So it wasn't playing on my mind, because I think that's the worst thing. If your head goes, you think, oh, I've lost it. I couldn't remember Freetown, blah, blah, blah. But I just genuinely didn't get the answers right. That's all.
Yeah. But fortunately, you managed just enough to get yourself into a tie. Because, I think you got 9, John got 9, Sean 10. So it was Thomas's 12, which was a standout general knowledge round. He did very well. But when you get into the tiebreaker, talk us through what happens in a tiebreaker in Mastermind.
There's not that much editing that goes on, to be honest. So you've got the two of you, and I assume it's in seat order. So the person that's in the lowest number seat goes first. So they stay in the studio, and you get escorted to one of the dressing rooms. And that kind of played in my favour, because once I got in there, I thought, well, it's gone better than the last two times. It's a crapshoot from here. It could go either way. It's like a penalty shootout. And I tried to channel my favourite footballer, who's very good at taking penalties, and think, well, what would he do in this scenario? And to say, just do it. Just do what he does, pretend you're on a beach, and then do the run up and answer the questions. And I knew that without the kind of time pressure, by the time I sat down, I felt this is just like hundreds of league games that I've been doing for years. He's just a QM on a Tuesday night reading questions, just see where your brain goes.
And that's really interesting, because you did keep calm, and perhaps that is where things like Quiz League really help, because you are used to being put on the spot and coming up with answers. And you mentioned your favourite penalty taker, presumably Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
And in a way, that John Singer Sargent answer kind of was very Tony-esque, in the sense of the pause and then the sublime finish.
Yeah.
Really
if you've never seen an Ivan Toney penalty, then it's a bit like that. But that was something that I've had on a flashcard for months, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that, it's on my flashcard. So that's the benefit of slogging away in the background. Thank you, Joe, for that comment.
Yeah, you do the hard work so that things like that happen, don't you? And that's who is it said, the harder I work, the luckier I get, kind of thing. It's like, well, you make your own luck.
And for me, it's just like, I always use this phrase, it's getting out of your own way, because everybody knows more than they think. And if you can kind of get round the pressure and the circumstances and just tap into that, then you might be lucky.
Yeah, and I say it wasn't luck. I think when you look at yourself and Thomas, you both got the frequency modulation question. You clearly knew Neil Gaiman. Roald Dahl was an absolutely reasonable guess if you don't know who did it, but it's still a guess. Neither of you got Lame. Again, there's a rally. Paris-Dakar, a reasonable guess, but if you know there's a Monte Carlo rally, then that's an even better guess and great answer. And then the John Singer Sargent one. It was a really good tie-break performance. and that coolness, that calmness was evident. When you knew you'd won, what was that feeling like?
I think I didn't really believe it because the last time I'd come close and hadn't really kept track of passes and scores, so I felt like I needed a bit more confirmation. I think I did quite a big exhale. I can't remember what my facial expression was, but I think it was just a bit of relief, really, that it's gone all right this time. That I keep putting myself up for this and encouraging my friends to watch it, and finally they've got something to watch.
Let's see. I mean, you are no stranger to TV. You've been on Only Connect. We've seen you on Lingo. We've seen you on a number of things. What is it about TV quizzing that kind of gives you that buzz to want to do it again and again?
I don't. I actually, there's a part of me that likes being put on the spot, and just being in a TV studio, and this is just an opportunity to show what you can do. And I was born to do quizzing. I increasingly believe that I've just got that kind of brain. I'm not artistic. I'm not that good at sport, so learning stuff and bringing it out is what I do. But yeah, I love kind of the whole thing, and being on Only Connect and playing you lot on Only Connect, and you guys were kind of hardened pros by that point, and we were rookies, and we said, oh, we're not going to be like these serious quiz people, and here I am.
Yeah, all those years later.
Yeah.
Still talking about it. Yes, yeah. Check out Series 10 if you want to see. You were the Felina Files, weren't you? I think.
Felina Files, yeah. We've got to stick for that on Twitter because it's not a proper word.
No. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You were wonderful to meet and to play against. Now, congratulations, Helen. Before we wrap up, what was your next subject? What's your semi-final subject?
So I will be doing for the semis 18th century British prime ministers.
Nice subject, nicely constrained. We know when we can't be anything outside of that century.
No,
Fine list of people. Yeah.
Yep.
So
and I like political history, so.
Yeah. Yep. So again, that plays into an interest and perhaps some already existing knowledge. Look, Helen, thanks so much for coming on, telling us about your Mastermind
Pleasure.
triumph. Really enjoyed chatting to you. Really enjoyed watching the show tonight. It was just Mastermind at its best, very, very enjoyable. We are going to be chatting Only Connect. I don't know if you're planning to stay or not, Helen.
I'd quite like to. I mean, I was half watching because I've been fielding a lot of messages. But no, if you don't mind, I will stick around, and if I have anything to say, I will do it. But
hang around then and chip in. I'm going to play a quick video or two, and then we'll come back. We'll be speaking to Dan, Claire, and Harry from the Also Rans, and we have a special message from Lewis. See you in a second. Huge thanks to our community of All Things Quiz members. Your support helps us to keep this channel going. It pays for essential running costs. Now, if you want to become a member of All Things Quiz, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/allthingsquiz. And from £3 a month, you not only get to support the work of this channel, but there are a range of member benefits available, including our monthly quiz. Hope to see you soon. So, yes, thank you to all of our patrons. The next Patreon quiz is coming up on the first Sunday of January. It'll be a quiz about 2023. Valerie wants to know, Helen, is Ivan Toney going to Arsenal?
Oh, probably. He's made it clear he doesn't really want to play for us anymore, but we really need him. We need anybody with 2 fit legs that can kick a ball straight.
Well, we'll see what happens in the transfer window. But now coming onto the show, making a return, the Also Rans. We got Dan, Claire, and Harry. Evening, everybody.
Good evening. I promised I'd wear it. Look.
Yay! So Claire is wearing her got a hoodie from the All Things Quiz store. Is it all right, Claire?
Yes, it's lovely. I'm glad I got large though.
I have to say the t-shirts, I've got a number of them. Actually, they're fairly generous. So yeah, I'm all right with the t-shirts, but good to know about the sizing of the sweatshirts. All available at tinyurl.com/ATQ store. Thank you, Claire, for being our model. Now, That was a tight match tonight, folks. Bit too close for comfort for you.
Yes. I mean, the last one was close as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you were, but I mean, a 1 point margin of victory. The video nasties, obviously, you'll have known some of the video nasties potentially before you went into that match. Harry's nodding. Harry, what were your thoughts when you knew you're facing them in the quarters?
I think we were hoping on avoiding them, but I think we sussed quite early on that we knew that both video nasties and Mercians would be on our side of the draw, so that if we did well, there was a fair chance that we'd be facing at least one of them. So it was kind of like, oh, great. Well, we were psyched up for it beforehand. We weren't going in there expecting an easy match. That's for sure.
Yeah, there was a bit of a coincidence because I don't do as much organised quizzing as Harry and Claire, so I wasn't so familiar with Lewis and Jack. But Nina and I were both on the same episode of Millionaire 4 years ago. So she sat in the chair literally 5 minutes before me. So we have actually met before, although I don't remember until we saw each other just as we were about to go into the studio.
That is a weird coincidence. But then again, the world of quiz can be quite small at times.
Yes.
Claire, what were your thoughts going into this match?
A bit yikes, really. Because I knew. I mean, Lewis has been in the Tier 1 final of Pop Culture Challenge, so I knew that he'd know loads of stuff that I didn't.
Yeah, but it's a team game, and that's the crux of it. The first round was quite tight between the two of you, 3-2. Kicking yourselves about not going for Simon and Garfunkel on the first clue?
Yeah, that was my fault.
I wasn't allowed to.
No, well, I think we didn't play that question particularly well because we saw the first clue and thought Baby Driver was a reasonable answer. And obviously, Claire and me, our first thought was Simon and Garfunkel, but Harry quite rightly pointed out that there's also a film by Edgar Wright. But what we should have done, looking back, is think which are more likely to turn into picture clues. Like, are Edgar Wright films going to be pictures? Probably not as easy to put into pictures as Simon and Garfunkel. And then when we took the second clue, we probably should have thought, well, what could it be if it's a Simon and Garfunkel song? And we would have worked backwards to
rather than trying to see what the picture was, because you can tell that it's a man and a woman, but you have no idea who it is because it's so far away.
Yeah. Looking at the picture when it was on the show, I was like, oh, well, that's clearly Mary Robinson, and then I think we would have got it. But from that distance, we were just it's a brunette woman who's relatively slender. That's about as we could tell.
That is it.
Yeah. So I think if we'd perhaps been in like a Connections Online game, we might have taken a bit longer and worked backwards and gone for it, on one or maybe two. But I guess early on, because I think was it the first question of the round? You want to be?
It was the third one, but the first two questions have gone dead. So maybe that also plays in your mind as well when you missed a chance. Because when you haven't got your fictional detectives, and then you had an opportunity for steal on the airline tailfins. I guess when you've missed. I say missed. When two questions have gone dead and you haven't scored, and you want to be certain, you want to put points on the board. I can see why, and Baby Driver being a film. Valid kind of challenge, and you've only got so much time to be thinking about the tactics in the match.
I've been teasing them ever since about having a 5-pointer stolen from me.
Oh, the glory, Claire, the glory you would have had.
No, not at all. It's just that Simon and Garfunkel is just so much in my wheelhouse. I actually perform them in concert.
Oh, do you? Nice.
But I guess that's sort of one of the downsides, I guess, of having that much knowledge. Because I think if it was just Claire and me, we'd have gone, well, it can't be anything else. Baby Driver, it must be Simon Garfunkel. But because Harry's got brilliant film knowledge, he absolutely rightly said, it's also a film. And so too much knowledge really stopped us going for a
you start talking yourself out of things. I think we found that a couple of times. We talked ourselves out of a 5-pointer, and we still talk about it 7 years on. So I feel for you.
Yeah, well, Harry, this will be haunting you for 7 years. Do you hear that?
I know.
Sorry. That isn't very helpful, is it?
If it means anything, I'd almost forgotten about it by the end. By today, I was like, "Oh, this is the bit where I so doubt." So, what's your favorite time?
Well, it didn't hurt you in the end. Both teams picked up points in the next couple of questions. Your Motown artist one was a nice get. When Smokey sings, that was your route into that one, wasn't it?
It was for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't recognise the first two, and I wouldn't have got the last one if Harry hadn't said Marvin Gaye, and obviously put the two together, and there's the answer. Which that was real teamwork.
It was lucky it didn't go to the other side, because Lewis, of course, is a Billy Bragg expert.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the one where I didn't know Stevie Knows, Levi Stubbs Tears. It took me a little while to kind of dredge it because I don't know, I was singing it in my head. But there was a very good get by Jack at the death on the last question, the F and PH, the Philly one, which I thought was a very good get. Tight at the end of round one and then into round two. Any questions stand out to you in round two?
We don't like round 10, do we?
Well, I think it was. If it had gone the other way, I think we'd have preferred it, because the video game question. If Victoria had said, "I'm going to show you 3 Sonic the Hedgehog zone question answers and tell me the fourth," we still wouldn't have got it. So
yeah,
made no difference whether it was a 5, 4, 3, 2, or one pointer. Whereas the chess one, I think we would have gone for it for 5, and
definitely.
I think the Huascaran one, I think we would have probably gone for Aconcagua after one clue, and I think we spotted the viruses one quite early as well. So it was just frustrating when you, as it always is in a quiz, when you know the opposition's answers and you can't do it yourself. So it's just the luck of the draw. It's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah, Helen, you've been there as well, isn't it? That you've got 6 questions in a round. If you pick the wrong 3, it can make all the difference. Yeah,
and you watch the opposition, like Gareth, cleaning up, and just like, and yours just comes out, and it could be in Cambodian for all you know. It's yeah. So no, it's. Yeah, no, I still have memories of that match against you where it was in the Missing Vowels, and it was football stadiums, I think, wasn't it? And it was just like between me and you, just trying to desperately get in there. You beat me to Main Road, and I'm still bitter. I'd forgotten all about that, because all we remember from that was a different one. Yeah, God, they all rolled into each other, those shows. Yeah, they do. So no, it was a good round. I thought that the Sonic the Hedgehog one, it's an either you know it or you don't one.
Well, so many of them are like that.
Yeah, but you did well on that kind of the vowel that's missing whilst all the others are in alphabetical order, which is a real tricksy but classic Only Connect type thing, Harry.
The funny thing about that one was because that was the example one that they put on like the tweet as kind of like the teaser for the show. Mm-hmm. I couldn't remember whether we got it or it took me a while to remember what the sequence was. So when I was watching it was kind of quite nice to go, oh, we got that quite quickly. Well done us. I don't remember us being that quick that much on the ball, but yeah, fine, good.
Yeah, I was saying to someone about that one. It's a bit like a cryptic crossword. If you don't do them, then it's utter gibberish. If somebody wasn't a fan of Only Connect and just tuned in, that's impossible. It doesn't make any sense. You'd never get the answer. But if you've watched enough episodes and you've done it enough times, you sort of know the type of patterns that they do and the sort of questions. So it's not as impenetrable. I suppose it's just like learning another language, I guess. If you're familiar with it, it's not quite as impenetrable. But I was so pleased with spotting it was a word question. I couldn't think of an actual decent one-word answer. So we came up with this sort of hybrid same line. But I was fairly confident that we'd be either given it the benefit of the doubt or prompted to think of a word. And I tried to think of some. It's quite hard to come up with some.
It is without a pen and a piece of paper or something.
Yeah, I came up with Valentino and I think abstention and transgression, and that was about it. But
Valentino is good.
In the heat of the moment, I couldn't think of anything.
Harry, was the Beatles album cover inspiration yours?
It was, but although I almost messed it up at the end because I suddenly had a moment of doubt about the order of them. I was like, I didn't feel like it was that Sergeant Pepper's was so late, but of course it was. So I got all mixed up a little bit, but no, got there in the end.
Yeah.
I don't think there was much after Sergeant Pepper, was there?
No. Barely anything.
It was my only contribution to that whole genre. Is I knew the name of the person who did Sergeant Pepper, but I had no idea of the order. I wouldn't have known it was Beatles albums. So Harry did 99% of the heavy lifting there, and then just able to come up with.
I think I just sat and had a rest for a bit.
Yeah. I guess once you spot that it's Beatles albums, it's like, does anybody know the photographer for Abbey Road or for Let It Be? You know, it's like, so Peter Blake is the good guess. Now Jamie's got a comment in here about it being a very blue show with Randy Priggs and Monte Piscis, so proudly proclaimed by Lewis. Yeah, you've got to have a little bit of smut amongst your quizzing. But you were 10-7 up after. Well, not every. You don't have to, Claire. Obviously,
we could always volunteer. They want to do like a post watershed special for next Christmas.
Yeah, only connect late.
Oh, that would be amazing. Bring it
After
on.
dark. Yeah, I'm sure somewhere somebody's already working on that. But you're 10-7 up going into the wall. Video Nasty's made quite short work of their wall. It's a very, very strong performance. What did you make of it watching it tonight?
I quite like their wall.
Yeah, they worked. There was no sense of any stress there at all. It felt like they could see quite a few of the connections quite early on and just worked through it. It was textbook stuff, really.
But what a lot of animal houses there were.
Indeed. It was say I think it was just a victory for really good technique and persistence and a method. Well, getting one of those words I can't say. A methodical approach. I thought it was very good, and we got to hear Lewis's Benoit Blanc impression, which he's very happy about. Your wall, Duncan's put here, the last 10 seconds of your wall made all the difference. So yours was, again, I guess a victory for persistence, but right down to the wire. It must have felt quite stressy.
It was,
yeah. I don't think it was, no. Because I think we're so used to doing the walls each week on the connections. I think we're very much in the frame of mind that you don't start panicking and jabbing buttons randomly, because it's all there, and if you can solve a 4 clue answer in the space of a couple of seconds, so you don't really need to panic, and you can see the timer at the bottom of the screen counting down, and I think we still had 30 odd seconds when Harry spotted the David Tennant one, which really unlocked it. And so once we had that in, it was fairly easy.
I'm sure I was panicking.
I mean, the David Tennant one was a key, but I think the not only spotting it, but I think the good knowledge was the Barty Crouch one, because you wouldn't necessarily think that would be in there. But I guess had you already eliminated? I guess you'd eliminated Hunch Stoop, eliminated from the other group by that point.
Yeah, we should have known that Doctor wouldn't be in there as the obvious one as a Tennant role.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Doctor rather than the Doctor. I suppose the difficulty was that there was a group that we didn't know. It wasn't like we could see what the groups were, but couldn't get the clues into the right groups. We just genuinely didn't see what the fourth group was, which made everything potentially.
I was cross about that one. I should have had that one.
Yeah. That's the beauty of a good Only Connect question, isn't it? When you see it, you think, oh yeah, of course I should have got that, and you don't quite get it.
Yeah, I mean, Helen, quite a lot of times passed since we were last on the show. Do you play Connections as well yourself? Connections online QUIZZY?
No, because Simon, my husband, he writes some questions for the league, so I think that would probably disqualify us. So he's busy fiendishly thinking up new challenges, and he's had a few questions in, so it's not something I've dipped my toe in yet.
Oh, unfortunate. Were you a fan of the wall when you were on the show?
Yeah, we enjoyed it, even though we got banjacks by a couple of popular culture things we just didn't spot. No, it's great fun.
Yeah.
And we try not to do the sort of finger jabby thing. We try to be a bit more strategic, but I think each year teams are improving their technique, and especially with the Connections League now, people are quite savvy in the way that we were not particularly.
Yes,
we had such a fast wall in our first match that it's been a bit of a letdown since. Felt a bit disappointing after the great start we had.
But you went into the wall with a lead. You came out of it level. I mean, I kind of always ask people, you know, what you were thinking going into the Missing Vowels when you level against a team that's got Jack, Lewis, Nina on. You know you're going to be up, you know, facing a real challenge, don't you?
Yeah, because I don't think we've ever been against them in online quiz league.
No.
Yeah. So we didn't know quite how quick they were on the buzzer. It's not like when you've got like someone like Jamie on the Merchants team, where before you go, you know he's going to be really, really sharp.
Yeah.
But we assumed that they would be really, you know, we needed to bring our A game. That goes without saying, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, the first set tableware goes equal. So there's still nothing to choose between you. Not tableware. My memory is, Dan, that you had a good round with that set, and that kind of put you in the lead.
I think it's probably fair that we should mention what happened off screen that was edited out in the sake of fairness. The first clue for tableware came up, and we buzzed in and gave an answer, which wasn't. It fitted the letters, but it wasn't the answer that Victoria had. But before she could say yes or no, she called a stop because her screen had gone funny. The answer hadn't come up on the screen or something. So we don't know whether we'd have been given the benefit of the doubt. They just decided to cut that one out and start again with a fresh question. But later on in that round, the opposition were given the benefit of the doubt on testing fork rather than toasting fork.
Was it tasting fork or something?
Tasting fork rather than.
Yeah.
So we think that might be, you know, it's possible because, you know, we got a bit lucky with one that was cut out. You know, maybe they wouldn't have been given the benefit of the doubt if we'd been negged. So you don't know exactly how it's going to go. So I think it's fair to say both of us got away with one, which sort of evens itself out in that round.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's the referee, and you have to live with whatever the referee decides, don't you? And interesting, because Lewis does mention that in his little video message, which we'll get onto in a second. Yes, but the not tableware puts you 2 points up. Surnames rhyming with supermarkets. We just didn't have enough time for that Johnny Marr one, which could have brought it to a tie-break had the Video Nasties got it. Of course, could have given you a wider margin of victory if you'd have got it. Dan, you must have been aware right from the outset of that round that a tie-break was a possibility.
Yeah, of course, but you don't start thinking about the tie-break before you play the round. So I do keep a sort of mental track of not the actual scores, but like, you know, we're 1 up, 2 up, or 1 down, level, whatever. So I always knew that we were ahead. And then I think when Harry answered the Peter Capaldi one, I knew we were 3 up. And we could afford a couple of the opposition to get a couple. And then obviously the buzzer came in just in time. So I did actually know that we'd won, and it wasn't going to go to a tie break. So I guess that's you know, you don't want a tie break ideally. So we were just
absolutely not.
You know, saved by the bell, I guess.
You were in a tie break, weren't you, Helen?
Yes, you only have to mention tie break. Simon's probably behind the sofa already, traumatized by it. Yeah, and because it was our first ever show and it was a tie break. Yeah, it was quite tough to take, but no, I had a tie break on Mastermind tonight, sailed through it. So experience, and it's better not to put yourself through that.
You're a tie-break veteran, though. So let's just hear what Lewis had to say. Lewis can't be with us tonight. Lewis is travelling down from the north. He's not avoiding things, which is hence why I put this very Lewisy video through to us. So let's watch this for a few minutes.
5, 4, 3. Hello, QUIZZY Mondays fans, friends, loved ones, and Paramount, of course, Gareth and Valerie. Hello, thank you. Sorry I can't be there tonight. You know what it's like this time of year. But delighted to have the coveted pre-Christmas slot for our episode, our quarterfinal versus the also rounds. Gutted. 1 point loss. 2 1 point losses, a 1 point win, and a slightly bigger win. That's a lot on the show. The greatest pleasure, just the best time. A real dream come true, and to do it with two of my best mates was amazing. Just had such a good time on it. Really did. I'm not that annoyed. I'm not that annoyed. I'd like to have won. Sue me. But you know, I really like the also rounds. Particularly, really since the show, I've seen a lot of Harry and Claire, and they've become really people I really look forward to seeing in the quiz community. So I can't be too annoyed by it all. It's that chess question that I keep coming back to. Of course it was. Of course it bloody was. But yeah, I thought it was a really good set of questions on this episode. Some really fun ones. Loved the Sonic one. Loved the Motown one. The F/PH one, I think is an absolute beauty. But yeah, just came down to the barest of margins in the end. I don't know if the guys will talk about this on the episode, but we did have to stop recording right at the start of Missing Vowels because their guys buzzed in incorrectly. Should have got a minus, didn't. Whatever. But their buzzer broke. Honey dipper, not honeyed paper, Claire. Honey dipper. But I was really happy with those people that run the supermarkets in that final round too. And I liked the wall. I like to get into do my. I hope they kept my Benoit Blanc impression in. That's what I want to be my legacy. But yeah, it's been the biggest pleasure. Thank you to everyone who's been so supportive about it, particularly you, Gareth. Thanks for having me on All Things Quiz so far this year. I'll be back after Christmas for sure. See how Pammy D and team do on New Year's Day. Looking forward to that one. But yeah, thank you everyone so much. Have a great Christmas and New Year and whatever holiday you might celebrate. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
So that was Lewis. I mean, all these months on, a little bit kind of subdued, a little bit still traumatized by the experience. The thing is, nobody ever wants to leave Only Connect, do they? And in a way, the quarterfinals is almost the worst point because you win the quarterfinal, you get 2 matches no matter what. They're on it. So, so Lewis is subdued. But what do you think of his evaluation of the match from his perspective?
I think that's why he gets the big bucks. That summary, caught the mood perfectly. I thought one of those things whenever it's a 1 point match, whenever we've kind of had them in connections or just in a general OQL, you just become you just hyper focus into the small things, the questions you should have got on those things, and it's like, well, if we just
He's right though. We should have been negged. I forgot that.
But as I say, they might not have been given the benefit of the doubt on testing fork or tasting fork. So it can go either way.
Yeah. We can't know. But it is fine. It is fine margins, and again, in a way, sometimes it's better to lose by more than a single point, because single point, everybody is thinking, oh, if only I said that or been a bit stronger on this, or been a bit quicker on that. Everybody can beat themselves up on it. Of course, you're not in that position right now, and we don't want spoilers for what happens in the rest of the series. But I guess you can empathise with Lewis when it's his second 1 point defeat of the series.
I'll have to send him some baklava because that will be wrapped in honeyed paper.
That's it. Double down, Claire. Take that look. Yeah, if there is any baklava going, I'm always up for it. So yes, you're through to the semi-final. We've got next Well, the next episode is 1st of January, and it looks like we'll be seeing the Mercians again. It's shaping up to be a really epic end to the series. Was this the last few episodes? Were they all in the kind of same recording block, same few days?
Yeah, consecutive days.
We were in the last filming block, so everything round 2 onwards is all in the same 4-day period.
Does it start to take its toll on you? So mentally, physically, your adrenaline rushes catching up with you?
I think if they did blood tests on us during the course of the filming, our hormones going all over the place because your normal sleeping schedule is interrupted. You're going through you spend all the day stressing about the result, and then you have a sudden moment of euphoria at the end of the day, and then it's the end, and then you have to try and get back onto an even keel again and do it all again. So it's a roller coaster of emotions.
Is your blood not just caffeine and alcohol by the end, or is that just us?
Largely,
No,
yes.
Sugar, yeah.
Haribo.
I have 30 pigs under the desk.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on again. We look forward to seeing you in your... Well, hang on. We've got a question on... Oh, no. Well, you can't answer this. But Duncan's saying, do you need to change your team name at the end of the series? Spoilers. So we will find that out in due course, Duncan. We will find out whether the also-rans are no longer the also-rans later in the series. Only Connect is fast running out. But we will see you again on the show. Hopefully we'll see you again on QUIZZY Monday. But thanks for coming to chat to us. We are going to be now looking at Quiz Week, news from the world of quiz. So anybody is free to stay on and just comment on the nominations and the like. But if you want to disappear, that is fine too. I'm going to play this short video about our newsletter. But I also say, if you've watched this far and you've enjoyed what you've seen and you haven't clicked like or haven't clicked subscribe, then please do. We're 11 subscribers away from 2,000. We might be able to get there by Christmas. So if 11 of you who aren't subscribed, press that button. You'll make me very happy. It'll be my Christmas.
I'll tell the random people that always pop up every time I'm on TV, the people that I worked with 15 years ago. I've seen you. And I say, well, you need to go and subscribe to this. Maybe that'll push you up.
Yeah. The more random, the better. So yes, thanks for that, Helen. Let's just see the newsletter thing, where you can get news from us every week. There's so much going on in the quiz world, it can be really hard to keep on top of it all. Let us do it for you with the All Things Quiz newsletter. News from All Things Quiz and from the wider world of quiz delivered to your inbox every Tuesday. Sign up at allthingsquiz.com or scan this QR code. Right, well, we are back. We said goodbye to Dan. Thanks, Dan, for coming on. Captain of the Also-Rans. Helen and Harry and Claire are still with us. So, news from the world of quiz. There's been some breaking news today. A well-known quizzer from India has sadly passed away, looking at a very young age. We'll put some information about that in the newsletter. We send our condolences to the Indian quiz community. That's happened in the last 24 hours or so. Last week's Quizzer of the Week was Calvin Christ, who had a fantastic performance in Bundesliga, was the top player in Bundesliga. Vinu Sanjay was the top performer at the Asia Pacific Quizzing Championships. So well done to Vinu. And Evan Lynch did one of the many full housey type things that Evan Lynch does all the time. So well done to him. Team of the Week was the Zoomsbury Group, who won Connections Online Quiz League, the UK side of that. Second were Birkbeck and Danny McMillan, fantastic performance. Last week he was on the show chatting about it. They came second. And No Hat Mafia were third. They won the American version of Connections Online Quiz League. There is going to be a transatlantic tournament between the best teams from the UK and the best teams from the US. So we'll see who the best Connections teams are coming out of that. This week's nominees, and yet again I've done that thing of doing it too small for me to see with my window, so now I can see it. Broadcast quizzing, Paddy Baker won the latest heat of Counterpoint today. No mean feat. Paddy beat Chris has put in the chat, Evan won Quiz in the North last week. That's why Evan was nominated. So Paddy Baker won the heat of Counterpoint. Nathan Hamer was in that heat. He's a brilliant classical music quizzer and music quizzer in general. Paddy, a very tight match. Paddy won that one, worth listening to. Also nominated, Helen is nominated for her Mastermind win. Well done, Helen. In quiz leagues, Toby Cox won the latest round of the Hot 100. Into the world of quiz leagues, Clive Dunning has now completed the Triple Crown. Michael McPartland's words, I believe that. The Triple Crown of winning OQL League, the Cup, and the Plate. So well done to Clive. He's former Mastermind, former Brain of Britain, and hoovering up the titles in OQL. John Hall has been nominated for getting his 5th full house in the Merseyside Quiz League this season. We don't always get nominations coming in from Merseyside, but John has been performing out of his skin, so well done to him. Some chap called Kevin Ashman got a full house in the John Jacob Cup semi-final, and Sean Webb got a full house in the OQL Plate semi-final as well. In OQL USA, Jason Hess got a full house, and in Bundesliga International, Shane Whitlock was the top performing player. We've got 4 people who got 12 out of 15 in Mimi as well. David Housey and Bailey, Emma Laslet, Keshava Guha, and that man, Evan Lynch. You cannot keep him out of the nominations. 15 out of 15 in the International Culture Challenge. The guy is a machine. Expect to see him cropping up in nominations in the World Quiz Awards. It's a cert. He will be in there. Team of the Week, not so many team stuff, as much in the way of team stuff going on at the moment. We saw the also-rans win Only Connect tonight. They, of course, get a nomination, along with the Alan Partridge Project. That's Kevin Ashman's team, who won the OQL John Jacob Cup. The other one, who won OQL Plate, I think that was Sean Webb was Spiral Scratch. So the other ones won the Plate, and Chaotic Good MILF Hotel won OQL USA. They got a 100% record, winning every single match. There are 3 seasons of OQL USA in 2023. They won all 3 seasons of it. Wow. Didn't lose a match. Won all but 2, which they drew.
That sounds like we might be also rounds again.
I mean, who knows? Who knows in this vote whether the transatlantic vote will come through? But yeah, well done to Victoria Gross, Troy Meyer, Brandon Blackwell et al., Susanna Brooks, I believe, Andrew Olsberger. Fantastic team. 2 years ago, they were the World Quiz Team of the Year at the World Quiz Awards. I'm sure they will be in for a nomination this time. Yeah, lovely. Rex has put, I don't understand this channel. Where's the quiz? Tonight's show, Rex, is about celebrating the brilliant stuff that's been going on in the world of quiz, whether on TV or elsewhere. We aren't one of those channels that necessarily does lots of public quizzes. But if you want to come to our Patreon quiz, go to patreon.com/quiz and you can sign up. Talking of things you can sign up to, there's a Quest Grand Prix on 6th of January. You can go to quest.quizzing.com and you can sign up for venues all around the country. We've got our quiz, like aforementioned quiz, Quiz of 2023 on the 7th of January on Zoom. You can be a Patreon member for that. Pop Culture Challenge restarts 29th of January. Collections Online Quiz League starts again 30th of February. Go to quizcentral.net for that. Likewise, OQL's Live 8 long-form quizzes that they're doing. You can either see the Facebook group or go to quizcentral.net. And the Chinese poetry quiz. The deadline for that is 1st of January, and there's a QR code there where you go to CCTV if you want to sign up for that. But bear in mind, you will have to get to China and be able to speak the local language. So yeah, perhaps not that many viewers of this channel, but Huang Yi from Ningbo, China, feels passionate about it, and I keep encouraging him to go on so we can get the inside track on that show. Don't forget, you can nominate a quizzer or a team for Quizzer and Team of the Week at tinyurl.com. 82 nominations. Nominations close at 5 o'clock every Monday evening for things from the previous week. Not obviously quizzing that night. We won't be doing any more Quizzer and Team of the Week this year. We'll start up again in the new year. There just won't be enough going on over Christmas couple of weeks, but we will be back with that, so get your nominations in. And that's it. There are no shout outs, so a reminder that the World Quiz Awards are coming up, and don't forget to vote. Voting opens 27th of January. We'll be publicising that across all of our media. Don't forget to vote for What Is the Question at tinyurl.com/WITQ North. And don't forget to vote for Quiz and Team of the Week at tinyurl.com/QW 18-23. We will be back 1st of January. Until then, thanks everybody for watching this year. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks for all your support, your good humour, your patience. Some of these shows have run a little bit long, but Claire is laughing. There are a few of them that have lasted longer than others. But we appreciate you all coming and supporting us, and we hope you enjoy watching. Have a wonderful Christmas, or whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate, whoever you celebrate with. Have a fantastic time, and we'll see you again. And finally, just to say thanks again to Helen, to Harry, to Claire, and Dan, and remotely to Lewis for your contributions tonight. It's been great. And Duncan says, good night all. Feliz Navidad. On that bombshell, we'll say good night, and we'll see you again very soon. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Gareth. Happy Christmas.
Oh, sorry, hang on. So, just before we go, Joe said, have I missed the Mastermind predictions results for this week? Joe, you got 5 points, Valerie says. We will be putting up the full leaderboard on our website in the results section. That was a neat end until then, but now I've kind of muddied it.
Bye.
Anyway, bye everybody. Have a fantastic Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
See you again soon. Bye.